Hi, everyone. My name is Valerie Saunders. Welcome to the very first edition of my podcast. My channel is called Vals Vibe. I'm going to be talking a lot of different things, stuff about the mortgage industry, what we're working on at NAMB, the National Association of Mortgage Brokers. I do currently serve as a chief executive strategist and was most recently president from October of 23 to September 30th of 24. We'll just talk about life in general, things that I think might be of interest to people I know or people I hopefully soon will know. But I wanted today to talk about a couple things. Number one being trigger leads. If you're not familiar with trigger leads are those pesky phone calls, text messages, emails that our consumers receive whenever a credit report is pulled by somebody that the credit reporting agencies know are in the loan origination industry. They then sell those leads to a variety of buyers, and sometimes our consumers can receive 70, 100 calls or more in a 1 to 2 day period. So a lot of times those particular individuals who are calling don't properly identify themselves. Our consumers, especially first-time home buyers, may think that this is somebody that is working within our office, and they'll give out a lot of personal financial information in order for that person to be able to pull their credit again and potentially steal that loan. So the National Association of Mortgage Brokers has been working on trigger leads really for the last 20 years. But within the last 3 congressional sessions, NAM has very actively been a participant in having trigger leads legislation filed, including this current 118th congressional session. Right now, where trigger lead stands, there are still the 2 bills, one in the Senate, one in the House. The Senate bill was introduced by Senator Jack Reed, who is also the chair of the Committee on Armed Services, which is why he also is a participant and played a very active role in having trigger leads language included in the National Defense Authorization Act, which is the NDAA. That is legislation that must pass before the end of this congressional session. The other bill is on the House side, introduced by Congressman John Rose, as well as Congressman Richie Torres. Those bills are still active, and they will be until this legislative session ends. So why are we talking about trigger leads now? Well, as I mentioned, Senator Jack Reed did include language in the NDAA bill. That NDAA bill is once again required to be passed in the Senate and the House before the end of this congressional session. So right now there is a lot of conversation from a variety of players as far as what that final NDAA bill is going to look like. Is the trigger leads language going to be included in it? If it is included in it, what is it going to look like? Recently, there was some proposed language by a group representing, I believe, at least one of the credit reporting agencies who were looking to have trigger leads apply only to phone calls. So it wouldn't apply to emails and text messages. Well, as we know, most consumers look at their text messages and their emails, chances are before they're going to answer the phone. So that type of amendment really would not be beneficial to what we're trying to curb within the industry. So we're about to enter into some very crucial weeks as far as NDAA. It looks like something will happen regarding that legislation by the week of December 9th. What can you do to participate and to play an active role? Well, you can reach out to your House member, to your Senate member, and let them know that you support the existing legislation that is currently filed within the House and within the Senate bills, and also that you do support the inclusion of the current language within the National Defense Authorization Act. NAMB has been, as I mentioned before, has played a very active role. If you would like to take action, you can go to NAMB's website, which is namb.org. Highlight your cursor over advocacy and click on call to action. The very first issue is this support of the amendment to NDAA as well as HR 7297, which is the trigger leads language. If you click on take action, you'll enter your address. The system will automatically pull up who your House member is, who your senators are. There is already some pre-filled in language that you can use to send an email to your House member and your Senate members. If you don't like the language that was previously or auto-populated in there, you can amend it and send it whatever you like on your own. The important thing is to send it. Besides sending an email, there are two ways that you can send through X, formerly known as Twitter, or you can send a message to them through Facebook. You can also click a link and you can call them. Their telephone numbers will automatically appear and you can call them directly. The most important thing here, though, is to contact them. So I do highly encourage you, if you want, do all four methods of contact, but do something. NAM has been actively promoting this call to action. On this call to action specifically, we have over 5,000 supporters who have already taken action. It's really important that we're now close to the finish line, that we do every single thing we can do to try to get this language passed by the end of this legislative session. What happens if we don't get this language passed? Well, we get to start all over again. We're about to get a brand new president. We're going to get a brand new Congress. We're going to then go into the 119th congressional session starting in January. All the bills that did not pass fall to the floor, and we all get to start all over again. It is a very long process. As I mentioned, this is the third congressional session that NAM has been working on trigger leads language. We worked on trigger leads issues and problems for 14 years prior to that. So this has been a very long road, and we're potentially coming to the end of it with some gratifying legislation passed. Is it exactly what we all want? Probably not. However, the most important thing is that our clients, our consumers, are not inundated with telephone calls, emails, and text messages from entities they have no idea who they are. We as mortgage brokers create relationships, and we create relationships with our consumers, with the wholesale lenders, the service providers that we do business with. It is a consumer's right to shop. If they have shopped and chosen you as the person, an entity that they wish to enter into this loan origination process with, then you have the right and they have the right to not be inundated with phone calls, misleading information that might stray them from the process. So I highly encourage you, once again, go to namb.org, highlight advocacy, click on call to action, scroll down to that very first issue and click on take action, and send an email, a phone call, a Twitter notification, a Facebook message to your senators as well as your House member. It's important that we do that within these next couple of weeks. As I said, something will happen by the week of December 9th. So it's important that we take control of what is happening within our own industry and happening to our consumers. So that is number one. The other item I want to mention is there has been some postings on Facebook regarding the CFPB and what is happening regarding large brokerages getting audited. So the CFPB, of course, does have the ability to audit any entity that they want. Large brokerages, and just like large mortgage companies that are licensed in multiple states, have a tendency to have audits more frequently, and also audits done on a federal level more than a mortgage broker like myself who is licensed in one state and has a very small business. The typical mortgage broker business has 5 people or less. So the likelihood of me being audited by the CFPB randomly is fairly low. It's much higher than I'm going to get audited by my state. Many people get audited by their state because in your state lending laws, it says you have to be audited. So having your ducks in a row is something that we all should be doing all the time. We should always have our files quality controlled, making sure that a thread runs through and a thread isn't broken from the initial contact with the consumer to the time when that loan closes. We should always be prepared for an audit. We never know potentially when an audit is coming, and we want to have our files prepared. We also want to encourage our consumers to have the best information available to them with the loans that they're receiving. Maybe a consumer needs to know what a 30-year rate's going to look like, a 15-year, an adjustable, a temporary buy down, a non-QM scenario, a QM scenario. Whatever the case may be, we need to give them all of the information available so that they can make the best informed decision for themselves. We're hopefully not doing loans for months, we're doing loans for years. Obviously, circumstances may happen where when we're in a rate environment like we are right now, and hopefully at some point in the near future, entering into a situation where rates are going to be lower, that consumer will have the best opportunity to refinance potentially in a lower rate, or take advantage of the equity that they've built up in their home and maybe pay off credit card debt or pay off student loans or do home improvements or whatever the case may be. But every transaction that we do with the borrower should be at the best interest of the consumer. And so we should always be prepared. We should always be doing the right thing. We should always have our ducks in a row. As I mentioned earlier in this video, we're about to have some major changes. We're moving from a Democratic president to a Republican president. We're moving into a situation where the House, the Senate, and the president is all Republican. We are currently seeing where heads of departments are changing. The head of the CFPB more than likely is going to change. The head of HUD is going to change. The head, presumably, of potentially of FHA, of VA are going to change. And so we don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. But the one thing that we do know is what today looks like. And today looks like the best day for you to do the best for your consumer, to make sure that your files are always properly documented, disclosured, and that whatever it is that you're doing is in the best interest of the consumer. As always, if you have any questions and would like to reach out to me directly, you can always email me. My email address is valsaun, VALSAUN, @gmail.com. You can also message me directly through my website, which is valsaun.com. I do have a YouTube channel, Vals Vibe. I do have a podcast page, Vals Vibe. You can reach out to me in any of those methods. I'm here for you if you have questions, just want to vent, or need somebody to talk to. If you would like to be part of my next podcast, please reach out to me. I'm always willing and would love to have other viewpoints, talk about a variety of topics. But the most important thing is that we talk, we communicate, and we always do the best for ourselves, our family, our business, and our consumers. So with that being said, thanks for tuning in to this very first issue of Val's Vibe, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.